welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and today we're going to be talking about cat-safe plants. Really quick, first off, I want to thank you all so much if you left feedback about the microphone. Everyone seems to say that it's a lot nicer audio, which I think I agree with, so I'm going to keep using it. So as some of you might know, Joe and I recently adopted a cat. This is Cleo. Within that, like obviously I've got a frick ton of plants. And I wanted to make sure that her adjustment to moving into our flat was as easy as possible. And that meant learning which plants were cat safe and which plants were not cat safe. Really quick, I want to say I'm gonna be saying cat safe generally because I have a cat, so that's what I can speak to. I don't have a dog, but all of the plants that I'm speaking about in today's video are also dog safe. So if you have a cat or a dog, these plants are totally fine to leave them alone around without worrying about them getting ill, because lots of major houseplants are super toxic to cats and dogs and pets and humans and stuff. They can cause things like digestive issues, vomiting, seizures, or even worse things, like if they eat loads of it. So that was a big worry of mine when getting a cat, is that she was just gonna wanna eat all of my plants. And I've got a lot of plants, so I didn't want that to be a problem. So in the beginning, and even now, she only really has access to pet-safe plants for prolonged periods of time unsupervised. For the most part, she doesn't go after my plants unless she's trying to like get our attention. But even still, like at night, or if we leave for long periods of time, we remove her access to like the majority of my plants because they're toxic, and only leave her in spaces where there are pet safe plants. So if she does end up deciding she wants to eat them, it's not going to kill her or make her sick. So that's kind of how I've done it. So far it's worked really well, and she hasn't really been interested, which is great. We've only had a couple of issues. They were all with pet safe plants, so it was totally fine. There are loads of pet safe plants, but I figured I wanted to show you my favorites because they're the ones that I like the best, and this channel is about me. But if you want an entire list of all pet safe plants, I've got a link below to the ASPCA list of all toxic and non-toxic plants, so you can find your specific plant on there and see to check whether or not it is toxic or not. But these are my favorites, so let's talk about them. Really quick before I start sharing them with you, I just want to say if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up down below and comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about, or if you want to hear more about Cleo, let me know too, because I can definitely provide more content about Cleo. And subscribe for more. Also, if you don't know, I've got a Patreon where you can get bonus content from me by subscribing. So head to the link in the description if you want to get some bonus content from me. Cool. Let's get into it. So I'm pretty sure my favorite cat-safe plant is the cast iron plant, the ASPCA elater. This beautiful thing right here, just a lovely big statement piece. And I think it's one of my favorites just because it's such a low maintenance plant. This one basically thrives off of neglect. It lives in a cold, dark room, my bedroom, and it has been totally fine, and it's even actually popping out a tiny bit of new growth in there, which is super exciting. This is my first new leaf with this plant, and I've had it for just over a year now, I think. But yeah, they're like super low maintenance, easy to care for, and they've got these gorgeous, broad, big leaves that make quite a big statement and really easily make your house look quite tropical without like much maintenance, which is great. Who doesn't love a low maintenance plant? This plant, it basically acts like a fake plant that you have to water maybe once a month. So, I mean, what's not to love about that? The next plant that I want to talk about is the Maranta, or the prayer plant. This is another fairly easy plant, mostly low maintenance, though they do like a little bit more humidity than the cast iron plant. They'll thrive more in more of a humid space. Also, they like to be watered definitely more frequently than my cast iron plant, but they're still fairly low maintenance. I don't really have to worry about them that much, and they grow super fast. Like this one's grown loads. There's also like way more variety when it comes to Marantas. There's like 40 or 50 different types of Marantas, which is awesome because you can really find ones that are perfect for your space. This one is a red Maranta. I've also got a green Maranta, and then I've got a variegated green Maranta and a Maranta lemon lime, which are a bit more of the getting into the rarer Marantas, which is fun. So if you were looking for more rare cat safe plants, look for some rare Marantas because there are definitely some cool colorations of them. They're also good because they can tolerate a bit of low light as well. They don't need to be in bright indirect. Of course, if they're in bright indirect, they'll probably grow a bit faster, but they can totally handle being in lower light. Like this one is living in this room, which doesn't get that much light, and it's fine, and it's still growing lots of leaves. I've got so much new growth on here. I think I've got 3 new leaves emerging in the minute. So it's doing fine. So the next plants that I want to talk about are palms. This one here is a parlor palm and it's stabbing me in the face. But palms like parlor palms, Kent palms, Orisha palms, those are all non-toxic to cats and dogs, which is brilliant. Great to add some tropical flair to your home. I've heard that some palms are toxic, so if it's not one of the 3 I just mentioned, it is definitely worth looking it up to see if it is toxic or not. But it's a safe bet if you're going with a parlor palm or a Kentia palm or an Orisha palm. Again, these plants are fairly chill. This one lives in a pretty dark corner. It does have a grow light on it, but it's a pretty dark corner. It could definitely be brighter. And it is still even putting out new growth. I noticed the other day that it was sprouting some new little fronds, which is great. Average home humidity might be all right if you live in a fairly humid place, but it might be worth adding extra humidity for these ones with a humidifier or pebble tray, or like grouping it with other plants. It will really thank you for that and provide better growth. But in general, parlor palms are fairly slow growers. Like I said, this one does live in a fairly dark corner, but their ideal is bright indirect light. They can, though, adapt to lower light. Like if you kind of phase them into it, they can adjust their living style. Do beware though, cats like to paw at fronds like this. This is like a really good cat toy because it's bouncy and, you know, just bat at it and chew at it. So if you don't want your cats batting at your plants, maybe don't get this one. But if they do end up batting at it and eating it a little bit, it's not gonna harm them, which is what we want. We wanna be secure in the knowledge that they're not gonna get sick from our plants. Next up are Hoyas. Hoyas are great because there's like 900 different types of Hoyas. So you can almost definitely find one that fits your space. Though beware that the care is slightly different between them. So if you get a certain kind, like a linearis, the care will be different than a carnosa like this. Carnosas tend to be the most common type and they're fairly easy to care for, low maintenance. Again, a bit of a slow grower, but it's fine, I don't mind. They can take their time. Varieties with thicker leaves like the carnosa and like the carrii and stuff tend to like to be watered a bit less frequently because they will store water within their leaves. Varieties like the linearis that are super thin will need watering a bit more often because they're holding less of it. And the linearis also like it a bit more humid than the carnosa and carrii varieties. But pretty much all of them will like bright indirect light, and maybe even a tiny bit of sun in the morning would be okay. Not all day and not for prolonged periods of time, but a little bit of like dappled sunlight isn't gonna hurt them, and it actually might help make them grow. Also, Hoyas have gorgeous flowers. Personally, mine haven't bloomed. I'm trying to get them to bloom, but you know, I don't have control over their bloom schedule. So that's fun if you want a sort of flowering houseplant. Hoyas could be the option that is pet safe for you. Next up, we have Pilea Peperomioides, also known as Chinese money plant or friendship plant. These ones again tend to be fairly easy. They do like a lot of light. Even some direct light will be okay if it's dappled or in the morning. As long as it's not hot and prolonged, it should be fine. They tend to thrive off a little bit of neglect. I found when I ignore mine, they live much better than the ones that I've fallen over. So that's fine. Also, one of the great things about Chinese money plants is that they're so freaking easy to propagate. Like, oh my goodness, they basically do most of the work for you. You might be able to see in there, there is a little baby plant, and Pileas basically grow pups in their pots, and you can remove those pups and propagate them and plant them up and give them to friends. That's why they're called friendship plants. So a Pilea is a really good plant to have if you've got cats or friends with cats and you want to like propagate them and give them to your pet friends. Is that a thing? Like other cat parents or dog parents? They're a perfect little gift, and they're fairly easy. They're pretty nonchalant plants and they look pretty funky, like something out of a sci-fi novel, just a little wacky, you know? Last but not least, we have Calatheas. These are one of my favorites still, though they are a bit more high maintenance. In this list, Calatheas are definitely the highest maintenance. They do require a bit more care than a lot of the other ones that I've mentioned, and they can be a bit more passive aggressive and not tell you when something's wrong until it's too late, kind of thing. In general, they like bright indirect light and can even handle medium light as well. No direct sunlight, as it will burn their leaves. They also like to stay fairly moist, not sopping, but pretty moist. And they like the humidity to be a bit higher. So if you live in a drier place, Calathea is probably not the right thing for you unless you're willing to get a humidifier and have it on most of the time. Even if you live in a humid place, you might need to get a humidifier and have it on a lot of the time because they really don't like dipping too low in humidity. This one's actually one of the only plants that Cleo has had issues with, and I'm pretty sure that happened because she accidentally locked herself in her bedroom, which isn't a problem because like her litter box is in here and she's got water in here and stuff, but she accidentally locked herself in her room and knocked this plant over onto the floor, and then she really went at it. You can see I've got a bunch of damage in here from where she was playing with it. Did I cut off that leaf? That's a half leaf. Yeah, there was another leaf that she basically just like ripped to shreds, and so this one is looking a little bit bare on this side because I had to remove a good chunk because she kind of destroyed it. That's unfortunate, but I was really glad to know that this plant isn't toxic, so I didn't have to worry that she had eaten some of it because it wasn't going to hurt her, which is super important. So that's it. Those are my favorite non-toxic to cat houseplants. Like I said, there are loads more, so if you want to see a full list, head to the link in the description and check it out because there's loads of other plants that will be perfectly safe for your pets. In general though, do beware because there are a lot of toxic houseplants out there. So do your research before you're getting plants if you have pets, because you don't want to be getting something that can make them sick. And if you do, keep it out of their reach because you don't want them to get access to it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment in the comment section about other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!